Welcome, fellow Jedi and Sith. You are turning into Imperial Radio, your all-talk weekly Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Larson, along with my co-host, Alex Wormstead.
Hey, how are we doing today, everybody?
Today we have a great episode for you, a really action-packed episode. We're going to be doing a couple different segments. We're going to obviously start off with a quick little shout-out to a person that means a whole lot to us. And then we're going to jump straight into the news, and we have our title segment where we will be drafting clone squads. More to hear from that up ahead. Then we'll go into a little bit of a history moment, give you guys a little bit of a story time, if you will, and then a little special segment we've saved for you guys. So we'll get started with a little shout out to our good friend Byron Jessen.
Yeah, without this man, he is our tech advisor. If we don't have him, we really don't have this podcast. He gives us a lot of good advice.
Gives us a lot of good input, good advice, help whenever we need it. He's overall just a great fella, and we love to just give him a nice little shout out. Now for the news segment. First and most foremost, we're looking at the Rise of Skywalker box office hits 800 million. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Disney and George Lucas and everyone involved. And it's not the biggest box office couple weeks that's ever been had, but it's definitely doing pretty good, so that's great.
Yeah, that is a great accomplishment. And also, in other news, we have a punching Baby Yoda outrage. If you've seen The Mandalorian, or if you haven't, I am sure you've seen the memes and the videos of Baby Yoda getting punched. This has had fans almost outraged, and it is a little dark, but another bad segment there with that. But
we had actually the guest stars who punched Baby Yoda were Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally, two pretty prominent actors / comedians. And then in other news, we have more shows coming to Disney Plus soon in 2020. Congratulations and Happy New Year to everyone. Just a quick little shout out there. A couple days too late, but the last time we recorded a podcast was a year ago. Silence from the crowd. Anyway, so we have Rebels Season 5, Mando Season 2, the Kenobi series, and Clone Wars Season 7 coming all this year. So some earlier than later. Rebels Season 5 is still kind of a toss-up in the air when that's going to kind of come, but it's projected to come 2020, I believe, or 2021. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have for the news segment. Now we're going to go into our main title segment. This one is going to get pretty heated.
It's going to be fun.
This is a touching subject for us, and that is drafting our clone squads. If you don't know how this works, if you've ever played fantasy football or fantasy anything, you know how you start off by drafting players at a draft, and basically. Al has the number 1 pick, so he gets to pick first, and we're picking from clone troopers, and we're building a squad of 5. So we're building the squad of 5, and then we're going to put it on Twitter for you mega Star Wars fans out there to rank it and see who got the best squad, the most powerful squad, the coolest squad, however you want to make that.
We'll have 2 separate posts of different clone squads, and whichever one gets the most likes should determine which one would win. We're kind of setting it up almost as, they're battling each other almost, if you will, I guess.
Right.
I mean, that's how we're kind of doing that. So.
All right. Well, we're going to get started here, and Al is going to give us his first pick in the 2020 Clone Trooper draft.
Okay. Well, I guess if I don't pick this guy first with the first overall pick, then I'm afraid that the fans might be a little outraged if I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry, Cody, but I'm going to take Rex.
Captain Rex.
He's a great team leader. He shows a lot of free spiritness. He did not execute Order 66, and he actually did fight alongside with the Rebels. So that's just a really cool little segment bit, I guess you could say, with the Clone Trooper. I really enjoy that character.
All right, Captain Rex, CT7567, great pick. I mean, he's kind of the unanimous first pick, I would guess, for most everyone. But there is someone someone who comes in at a very close second. He's big. He's bad. He's yellow. Commander Cody, the 212. I mean, what can you say about this guy? We can say that he does outrank Captain Rex because he is a commander, but I mean Cody's great. He's one of the only named clones in the prequel trilogy. Most of these clones were getting information and content from the Clone Wars show and Rebels and things like that, but Commander Cody actually gets named in the prequel trilogy, and I think that's pretty cool. I believe he's the only one. So we're going to go ahead and knock down Commander Cody for my first pick, Al.
Yeah, that's an excellent pick, I mean, I would say those two clones is the two clones that people think about when they think of Star Wars, the clones,
Most definitely.
Most definitely. And I'm glad you picked that, so that way I could pick my favorite clone of all, CT-5555, better known as our Trooper 5s. I love this clone trooper. One, he's got a rockin' goatee, kind of like me. He's super free-spirited, just like Rex. He was a 501st ARC trooper. He served under Anakin Skywalker, and he was always in battle with Rex, so they have very good teamwork together, I guess you could say. And yeah, I think he'd be a good addition to this team.
Wow. What can I say? You already started off with Captain Rex and 5s. I'm already scared. But there is a certain someone that I happen to know and love. This one is it touches very near and dear to my heart, being he's one of my favorite clones. He is the commander of the 104th Attack Battalion, served under Jedi Master Plo Koon, and that is Commander Wolf.
I knew that one was coming.
Commander Wolf. Commander Wolf is, I mean, he's just a guy. I mean, what can you say about him? He's great. He's got an awesome scar. Got his scar over his eye, and his eye's like whited out. So you look up a picture of him if you want to see. He's awesome. He's got probably one of the coolest decals and clone designs. Yeah, there's just not much you can say about Commander Wolf other than he's awesome. So
yeah, I mean, I think you could almost go to the stretch and consider him almost a I mean, he's a badass.
Oh yeah, he's a badass.
I mean, that is the only term that you can put with that man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess for my third pick, this one's going to be tough now. I was really going to take him, but I kind of figured you'd take him pretty early. I think I'm going to go with... Let me think on this one. I think I'm going to go with Boyle. Clone Trooper Boyle.
Clone Trooper Boyle.
212th. A little background on him. Another Clone Wars one. He was part of the Ghost Company under Kenobi, and he was with the Tura Geonosis. Him and Waxer grew to be pretty close in that arc in the Clone Wars. He's a really cool character. I really liked his character. Another really cool thing about him, he's got a rockin' mustache. You need to look up this guy's mustache.
Yeah, he do.
It's sweet. But yeah, I guess he's just another one that I really like.
Yeah, Boyle is cool. I agree with that. For my third pick, it's kind of a toss-up. I'm really liking two guys, but there's just one that maybe ranks a little higher. I feel like he just has a little more combat experience, and that's going to be Commander Bly. I'm going to take Commander Bly of the 327th Star Corps. He is famous for gunning down Aayla Secura. He served alongside her in the Clone Wars and had many successful campaigns. Yeah, I'm gonna take Commander Bly. He's just, I already have 3 commanders on my list, so maybe they're not gonna gel very well, being that they all think they're the commander, but they definitely have a lot of experience on their side, which is always nice. So
yeah, that's a good one as well. Well, I think for this one, I'm going to go way out in left field here.
Ooh, I like it. I already like it.
Well, it's probably not quite way out in left field, but it's one that I don't think anyone would really think of until I say it. So We're going to go with Commander Colt.
Commander Colt.
He does pass in the Clone Wars, but he was a really badass character.
Oh yeah.
I love the way his armor looks. He's got real leadership abilities, and he doesn't die like some punk. He gets killed by Asajj Ventress, which is super cool. And he couldn't really do anything because he was surrounded by droids, and Asajj Ventress started choking him, and then forced threw him into her own lightsaber, and then the kiss of death, which is very famous.
Oh yeah. That is a cool death in the Star Wars universe. For my fourth pick, now this one, not so much out in left field as you think, but I think it kind of is when you think about some of the other people that you could take ahead of this guy. That's gonna be Commander Gree of the 41st Elite. Commander Gree is awesome. I always liked him as a kid watching the Clone Wars because he had double mohawks, but they were like ginger mohawks, and they were just great. I mean, that guy was the epitome of a man right there, and he was a great commander. I love their green markings. It was really great. Served under Luminar Unduli and Barriss Offee during the Clone Wars, and he was successful in his capturing of Nute Gunray earlier on in the Clone Wars. Most famously, he and another trooper and his company get beheaded by Yoda in Revenge of the Sith. You'll know him. It's when Yoda senses the fall of the Jedi, and they aim their guns at him, and then he just swings and decapitates them both in one swing. I mean, going out to Master Yoda, I definitely don't judge. I don't think many of us could stand seconds with the great Grand Master. But yeah, I'm going to take Commander Gree there.
That's a good pick there. He is a really good fighter. Let's go with for my final pick, which I'm kind of surprised that he lasted this long. And be quite honest with everyone out there, I kind of forgot about him until now. But let's go with Clone Commando Captain Gregor.
Captain Gregor.
If you guys don't know what Clone Commandos look like, or you haven't played any of the video games, wow, Clone Commandos are the coolest clone troopers ever. I think. I mean, they look so sweet to me.
They do. Their helmets are amazing. And their whole just armor is amazing. But yeah, no, Gregor's pretty cool.
Yeah, another one that did not execute Order 66, which is super cool.
Yep. Rex, Wolf, and Gregor did not commit Order 66, so that's pretty cool of them. That's like the only 3 canon clones that we know that didn't, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Gregor. I cannot believe I had him on my ranking. I probably should have taken him, but it really was between Gregor and this guy for my next pick if Al didn't take him. They're nothing alike. One's definitely a lot better than the other one, I'm not going to lie. But he's just so near and dear to my heart. And I have way too many commanders on my list. And I'm sick of writing the word commander. So I'm going to take a clone that probably literally me and Alex only know. And that's going to be Captain Keeley of Keeley's company. Captain Keeley had a couple episode arc in the Clone Wars TV show. He served under Jedi Master Amagundai. That's a play on words, by the way, because his name was Amagundai because he was going to die, and he did. And so did Captain Keeley.
It was one of the coolest deaths, I think, in all of Star Wars.
It was. I mean, the way
the fact that you didn't know them, but you felt that.
Right.
What made it really cool to me.
So basically what happened was the droid army was closing in on a village of people, the Twi'leks, and Jedi Master Amagundai and Captain Keeley and what was left of their extremely scattered forces. Amagundai and Captain Keeley and all the troopers fought. They slowly got picked off one by one. I mean, they were taking on tanks and troop carriers and mass amounts of droids, and
I mean, it literally, I mean, to compare it to something that people have, if you've seen this, kind of like the final battle in Saving Private Ryan, I guess I would compare it to.
Right, right. Because you just got so few guys going up against a mass force, and then they slowly just get picked off one by one, and eventually, I'm Jedi Master, I'm gonna die, and Captain Keeley both perish. But
They complete their mission.
they do complete the mission. They hold them off for enough time to get the Twi'lek people to safety, or to keep them till the Republic arrives with more reinforcements and food and all that. So yeah, so now we're going to take a little an overview of our picks. We're going to start with Alex's super squad of awesome clones. I mean, I look at it now and it's like, wow. So we start off with Captain Rex, and then we go to fives. Boyle, I mean, those two right there are both very experienced, great foot soldiers. They've seen nothing but battle. Then you got Commander Colt. You got some experience and some little bit of coolness and a little swag on your side. And then you got Gregor, he's just an all-around threat. I mean, he's a clone commando. He can kill you in so many ways. So Rex, Fives, Boyle, Commander Colt, and Gregor. And then for mine, you have the experience and the commanding squad of Commander Cody, Commander Wolf, Commander Bly, and Commander Gree. Those are my four commanders, and then Captain Keeley. So very high-ranking, very prestigious group. Definitely battle experience, but probably not as front-line experience as some of Al's. But they're all really good clones. They all kind of did their job, and they all did it good.
Yes.
So,
well, I kind of would like to talk about some honorable mentions that didn't make it. I mean, if you're down for that.
Oh, I would too. Sure.
Like my last pick, I was really debating on Gregor or Echo. Because I mean, Echo, that's one that you didn't. That's something that probably could have been on here, but
right. No, I had him in my projected. I projected how exactly it would go, and Echo was number 5, and he didn't get picked at all. So that's pretty crazy. Another honorable mention: the Yin to the Yang for Boyle, Waxer. He was the friend of Boyle. He did not get taken. He's really cool. He's got a nice Twi'lek decal on his helmet, little Twi'lek girl. It's really nice. Any other honorable mentions, Al?
Well, there's Apple, of course. I mean, there's just so many clone troopers out there.
Right, there's so many cool
I
ones.
love clones, and
yeah, we love clones, so we know like all of them. But
it's so hard just to pick 5 when there's millions of them.
Right. Some of them that didn't get taken off my list: Fox, Jesse, Kix, Apple. Most of them being 501st, besides Fox. Everyone else on my list got taken, so that's pretty cool. I mean, you can definitely tell me and Al have a very similar mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, you got Heavy that didn't get taken as well.
Oh right, Heavy. I mean, the whole
Heavy cut up the Domino
right.
Squad.
The Domino Squad was
a very storied arc of clone troopers right there.
Mm-hmm. That was So I like that. So now, if you want. It would help us out a lot if you would go to our Twitter page after this podcast airs at around 5 p.m. We will have that on our Twitter page, and we'll either do it in separate tweets with likes or voting style. We're not yet decided yet, but when that comes up, I'd like you to go on over to Imperial Radio's Twitter page, or you can email us at imperialradio66@gmail.com. That is imperialradio66@gmail.com. And our Twitter is at Imperial Radio P1. That's at Imperial Radio P1. Now we're going to move on to our next segment. It's just a great segment. I can't even keep my composure for this segment because I've just always wanted to just really talk about this. Me and Al talk about this all the time, but now we get to talk about it with you guys, and hopefully you guys will like it. For our new segment, we're going to be doing is a Star Wars history moment, and this history moment is titled the Clone Wars Crash Course. If you've never heard of a crash course, it's basically just a shortened up telling or explaining of
Kind of a
something.
summary of what's
Right.
going on in that time.
It's a shortened up, to the point summary where you get all the information you need as quickly but also as in depth as possible. The way that we're going to do this, we're going to be talking about the Clone Wars, the entirety of the Clone Wars, the whole 3-year battle versus the Republic clones and the Separatist droids. We're gonna go off of kind of a basis of the who, what, when, where, why, how motto. We're gonna tell you who is fighting, why, and how, and all that. So we'll start with who is fighting. Well, the Clone Wars was fought between the Republic and the Separatists. The Separatists were they were a group of senators and Congress people from the Republic that didn't like their ideas, and they decided to split and become a sovereign group, kind of like the Confederacy in the Civil War. They didn't like their ideas, so they just split off, and then they started fighting.
Yep. And they had their own droid army. In the beginning of it, they have their own trade federation blockades and everything with the droid army, and they're kind of almost wanting to control other systems to get them to join the separatist cause. And then eventually, the Republic finds out that they have this clone army on Kamino, and that's how the Clone Wars start. You're at 22 BBY at this point when we get the clones, and then the fighting begins. The clones versus the droids. That's when we get the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, you have your clones, you have your droids. Now you have the question of what are they fighting about? They're fighting for control of the galaxy, basically. I mean, the Republic has stood for thousands of years, and they think that what they do is all great and is law, and it is. But the Separatists have different values and different beliefs aside from the Republic that weren't getting recognized in the Senate, and they want to have their own government rule the entirety of the galaxy. That's pretty much what they were fighting for. I mean, they were fighting on in all the planets across the entire galaxy. I mean, there was a war. War touched just about every planet at one point. But then we go to the when. Like Al said, from 22 BBY to 19 BBY was the Clone Wars. It only lasted 3 years, which you think, wow, a 3-year war, that's like nothing. But
this thing is equivalent to World War II.
I mean, it's
crazy.
It was every day. You're fighting constantly, all the time, everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you had thousands of fleets fighting on different systems, and thousands of squads of clones on deployed to different planets, and they're constantly battling.
I guess we'll backtrack a little bit with that BBY. Just for you listeners out there that don't know what BBY is, it just means Before Battle of Yavin.
Right.
Which takes place in A New Hope. That's the battle with the Death Star, the first one.
Right.
It's just kind of to put some year stamps on stuff for people.
So if we say 19 BBY, that means it took place 19 years before Luke blew up the Death Star. That's like the BC and AD for Star Wars fans. So then we have the where. Where were they fighting? They're fighting everywhere. I mean, everywhere. There was a battle on Coruscant. There was battles on everywhere.
I mean, you name it, they were on
Geonosis, Megiddo. I mean, every planet that had something of value or people living on it was getting...
The Outer Rim planets they didn't touch too often. I mean, there were some Outer Rim planets that had resources that they'd fought. But, in Tatooine, they weren't on there. I mean, there's just...
Besides the Outer Rim in places controlled by their own, gangs and all that.
Like the Hutts.
Right. They didn't necessarily touch. But any normal governed planet that had either people or resources or something of value, they took. I mean, they and it was the Separatists and the Republic. They would storm in, and they would say, you're now a Republic or Separatist planet, and you're under our protection.
Yeah, I mean, I almost consider it similar to World War II, but also in some aspects where they just go and take over something and say, we will protect you, and they never asked for it. It's almost kind of like what the Cold War was where the United States would go in and say, no, you're not going to be communist. We'll help you. You're going to be you're going to be a democratic society.
Right.
And with China and Russia and everybody running around saying, no, you're going to be communist. I mean, that's what
It's literally the most comparable thing you could say that it's like. Then we have the question of why. Why were they fighting? I mean, they were fighting, like we said, because they want control of the galaxy, just like everybody else in the Star Wars universe. Everybody wants control of the galaxy, but it's so hard to get. They're fighting just for everything. They're fighting for resources, for people, for control, for hyperspace lanes. I mean, anything
Money.
you could think of, money,
Yeah.
anything of value. That's what they were fighting for, and why they're fighting, and how. I mean, they were fighting.
They were funded by multiple systems. The Separatists had the banking clan. The Republic had all the Republic systems backing them financially. I mean, just the how is, just basically financially. They were both well off. It just wasn't like the the Empire versus the Rebellion. The Rebellion didn't have a whole lot of funding, a whole lot of money, whereas this was, both sides were funded very well. Both sides had very high tech ships at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a full out war.
Yeah, it was two equally large groups attacking one another. It was like World War II. You had the U.S. and the British and anyone else who was helping us versus the Germans. And it's not like one side was the underdog. They were both throwing everything they had at each other. So it was mass catastrophe, just like in the Clone Wars. Now that we've gone over the who's and what's and when's and where's and why's and how, we'll give you just a little bit of a short just overview of what it was, kind of using some of that similar information, but kind of put it into just a quick summary. So in 22 BBY, Obi-Wan Kenobi went to the planet of Kamino to track down a bounty hunter. And while he was there, he by chance discovered that these Kaminoans, these people, they're famous for cloning. That's what they do. They clone a person, his genetic template, and they make mass armies out of those clones. And then when Obi-Wan got there, they said, "We have your army ready for you." And he's like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they said, "We have this army ready for you that the Jedi Council put into order from Master Sifo Dyas, who had been dead for a long time." And so they have their discussion about that, and then Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme get captured on Geonosis, and some like 212 Jedi come to help them out. And then as they're there, they're surrounded. A lot of Jedi died, and they're surrounded by droids. And then the Yoda with the clone army comes running in to save everyone. And all of a sudden, this was the first Clone Wars battle.
Yeah,
It was massive.
It took off just
Right.
like that. You had and that was, if you go back and watch Attack the Clones, that's an insane battle.
It is.
There's just, I would almost say, millions of clones.
Right. There's
fighting millions of droids.
Right. It's an all-out, just insane battle. And then from there, it pretty much just spawned the entire conflict. It was just like Geonosis, but on different worlds. You had every world there was either separatist or republic occupation, and then the opposing faction would just rush in and try to take that planet. It was crazy. It was awesome. It produced so much great Star Wars content, and that's why we love it so much. You look at like the TV show, The Clone Wars. That's 6 going on 7 seasons of just only what happened during the Clone Wars in that 3-year span.
And only revolving around main characters.
It's like, would you say, there's going to be 7 seasons. There's 6 seasons right now. There's 20-ish episodes a season about, somewhere in there. So that's over like 100 hours of
just extra content.
Of Clone Wars content from something that took place in 3 years. What else can you? It's just crazy how much you can do with that, and we love the Clone Wars so much. So.
And you can go on with that too. You
Right.
can have a whole nother couple seasons of just this clone platoon and then this clone
Right.
company, just separate clone groups instead of just revolving around the main characters you see in the prequels.
Right. No, the Clone Wars were awesome. Produced so much great Star Wars content. Definitely, I mean, whether you like the prequels or not, it's one of the best things to ever come out of those movies. Um, so that's pretty much it for our history moment. We hope you learned something. We hope you enjoyed this moment in history, this Clone Wars crash course. Now you can educate your friends when they ask about the Clone Wars. For today's special segment, we're bringing things down to a little bit of a lighter note for the kid in all of us. If you weren't a kid in the early 2000s and played the Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, or any of the Lego Star Wars, or any of the Lego games for that matter, were you really a kid? Were you really alive? I mean, those were like some of the best games of our childhood. I mean, me and Al,
Yeah,
I still play that game on my
if
GameCube.
if you were alive during that time and you didn't play those, you better hope that there was a good reason, because if you had a gaming console, you should have at least played them at least once.
I mean, I'm judging if you didn't, but who's judging? Me. But on that note, there's going to be a new, yes, that is right, a new Lego Star Wars video game coming out to all PS4,
Yeah,
Xbox, everything. And it is the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. And it will be all 9 movies,
it'll be the true complete
the
saga.
true complete saga. It's the completer saga with originals, prequels, and sequels all wrapped up into one big game, and it's gonna be freaking sweet. And I'm so excited for it. I mean, It was between the games I heard about were Fallen Order, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, and I was like, Fallen Order looks awesome, and it was awesome. But I'm juiced for this Lego
Oh
game.
yeah, the them Lego games just bring back so many memories.
They're just the greatest games ever. I mean, they're just so charming and fun and whimsical, and it's just they're probably some of the greatest games, and that's why Star Wars and not Star Wars fans alike love them. Onto a different note, if you play Battlefront, hopefully you do, because there was just a huge update to Battlefront, which includes tons and tons of clone skins. I mean, these clone skins are awesome. Um, they're working on some new characters, being BB-8 and Dio, which those are hero characters, which I'm really interested to see what they do with that. And there's just a whole lot going on Battlefront right now. So we just wanted to give you a little PSA and say, get on Battlefront. If you,
Oh yeah, I mean that the gameplay of that as well as from launch to now is completely
it's so
different,
different.
completely different, and it's great. I played just the other day and I was having a blast. I mean, I was just running around, didn't even pay attention, and next thing you know, I had 98 limbs.
Oh, it's great.
It's just crazy.
Capital Supremacy is great. It's the game is great. Everyone get on Battlefront. It's awesome. And then Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order. Did you guys play Fallen Order? It's been out for a while, so we want to know, did you play? Shoot us an email, tweet at us at Imperial Radio P1, um, and just let us know what you think of Fallen Order. I thought it was great. Al has a somewhat of a
I
differing opinion, but
I love the story. I like the idea of it. It was fun for whatever it was for me. But there's nothing wrong I have with the actual Star Wars part of it. It's just the way the gameplay was that I did not enjoy, because I don't enjoy them type of games, I guess.
true. It's a different type of game.
It's I would consider it kind of like an Uncharted
It
gameplay.
is like an Uncharted or a God of War, something like that, where you're constantly you're on the move and going and trying to get past obstacles. It was a lot at times, but I really liked it. We want to know what you guys think about it, because I mean it's up for some awards. It's a great game, and yeah, it's all these games are great, and
Yeah.
Skywalker Saga will be great. So we just wanted to let you guys know a little bit of our gamer side, if you will, and the Star Wars gaming universe, which is making an epic comeback lately.
Yes.
So that's about it for today. We're going to end this segment on that. This has been Imperial Radio Podcast. We'd like you guys to shoot us emails if you have any questions, concerns, or if you want to answer any questions we brought to you in the episode. Shoot us an email at imperialradio66@gmail.com. Like us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, tweet at us at Imperial Radio P1. That is our Twitter. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you for listening, and tune in next week, Friday at around 5 p.m. to hear episode 4. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.